Hello there, my name is Kane Wild, and these are my short videos documenting my experiences underwater while scuba diving. In this video we are diving on the wreck MS Zenobia. MS Zenobia sunk in 1980 in June off the coast of Cyprus near Larnaca on her maiden voyage. Here you can see that we have just dropped down the shot line and got to the wreck. It's immersed in all different types of marine life. Here there's quite a large fish swimming around and it nudged me wanting to be fed. As we start to make our way along the ship, in this video you can see that I am taking it all in. We look around the vessel and we start to make our way back on the vessel. As we make our way backwards, here you can see the old ladder that would have took you up to the top deck. It's crazy to think that this was once a monster of the seas, a floating fortress taking up such a large space of the water, and now it's created a playground for all the different marine species. Over the year, as the water starts to cool off, you find that many fish start to come up closer to the surface to live and to breed. During the summer times, like here, the water temperatures are still very warm, touching 25 degrees. Therefore, quite a lot of the species are still very deep. The wreck itself lies at approximately 42 metres on the seabed. Here, we are at approximately 31.5 metres. I'm looking around and I'm trying to take in what is such a large monster underwater. It's unbelievable to think she was once floating. Now there are many stories about the wreck. Some say that spies sunk it because it was shipping ammunition and arms into Syria. Some say that the ballast had a problem, she listed to one side and succumbed to the ocean depths. Here we can see the back doors. These would have dropped down once, allowing lorries and other cargo to drive aboard her. As we look inside, again, it's created an oasis for all the different species of fish and marine life. You can see many divers on the wreck, which is very great. Although the wreck is a disaster, it has brought many tourists to the area, creating jobs and a large economy for the area of Cyprus. Over the past year, coronavirus has hit us all very hard, and the diving instructors and diving centres within Cyprus have found it hard times. But like most scuba divers, they'll battle back, ready for another great season next year, hopefully. In this clip, as you can see, I'm looking through the back doors and I'm ready to swim through. As I start to swim through, it's only then that I realise that this wreck is such a massive, massive piece of kit. I'm looking around and I'm finding it hard to take it all in. I remember my mind was saying, this is unbelievable. My first ever wreck dive. As we swam through, we looked down onto the deck and we could see, as you can see here, lots and lots of cargo, many lorries and trucks and other things jotted on the deck. Some of the lorries are still held on by thin cables, and over the years the cables have snapped and the lorries have collapsed. So before this, we was warned during our dive briefing not to get too close, as these could soon quite easily tumble down and entrap you as a diver. As we swim along, I'm looking around. As you can see, there's many fish, and there's lots of things to look at. There's also lots of divers around. Massive, big wheels, I'm saying in this clip. Into here, this is a truck. I tried to imagine what might have been aboard here one time. Who knows? Many of the truck's cargo over the years have been looted by divers and tourists and other people that have come to these depths to explore. as we start to swim backwards, again, I can see lots of different lorries, lots of different bits of cargo jotted amongst the seabed. I extend the pole here, just so I could get a good clip of myself with the ship in the background. Again, it was so warm, the water, and it was so clear, the visibility. Although the divers had dropped down and kicked up a lot of silt, it was still very clear, the visibility. The wreck itself took 15 minutes to get there, full steam on a small boat from the Larnaca Bay. Many people suggest that the captain requested to come in to the harbour, but the local authorities denied permission for this, and the vessel sadly sunk. The vessel itself has been named as one of the top 10 wrecks to dive in the world, which is quite an amazing achievement to be able to dive on this as my first wreck dive. As we swim backwards, you can see many of the lorries and the trucks and the trailers have now become home for all different marine life. There's also apparently a turtle that lives on here, a resident turtle, although on this day we was unlucky enough to not be able to see him. Here there's some crazy creatures latched onto the bottom, just taking a moment to chill and relax before moving on to find some more food. In the distance, you can see a lorry on its side. My buddy at this point was pointing towards this lorry, and I was thinking, I wonder what this is. So as we started to fin closer, I could see things inside, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So I had to get a closer look. As we got closer, I started to see what looked like bones. Surely this isn't human bones, I thought to myself. And it turns out that actually, this lorry was once a transportation lorry for dead animals. In this clip, as we work our way back, we see a lifeboat. Again, this would once have been suspended, like the ones you see on the Titanic film. But over the years, the cables have degraded, they've snapped, and this has come to its final resting place. The vessel, you've got to remember, is lying on her side, so sometimes the pictures may look slightly wrong, and that's because the vessel is there on its side. Again, it's very hard to picture in your mind, and sometimes your mind plays overtime and tricks on you, thinking, this isn't right, I should be swimming in a different direction. As we swim to the side of the vessel here, we look over the edge. As we look over the edge, we look down to the bottom depths of approximately 42 metres. And we can also see the superstructure of the vessel. Here you can see the bridge, and you can see the stairwell, and you can see a hatch and windows. It's a really, really surreal experience, especially as a first dive. In this clip, we look at what's called the spare anchor. The spare anchor is up forward, on the bow. As we swim along the top, here it looks like a crane of some kind. We swim along, looking around and taking in the spectacular ship. At this point we start to swim to what looked like, I wasn't quite sure, but then I realised that actually these were windows, and this is the bridge. These were windows that once would have been looked out of by the captain and his crew. It's a tight fit, but I managed to squish through just alright. I hadn't been eating too much chocolate that day. And as you can see, there's many things dangling that you can get snagged on, and over the years a few divers have sadly succumbed to being trapped. I look around, and the majority of the equipment that would have once been on the bridge was salvaged before she sunk. And up here, on the left-hand side, see if you can see what I can see. I start to spin around, and it's at that point that I get a bit disorientated and I think, hey up, I best get out of here. My mind was playing overtime, telling me that the ship was upside down and it was on its side, and it was crazy. Look at the size. Absolutely massive. Here you can see a ladder. It would have been used as an escape ladder, or it might have been used for crew to come up and down on in emergencies or quickly to be able to get on the side and catch hold of ropes and other things as she came alongside. As we come over the top here, we manage to look and we see what looks like two doorways. The doorways are kind of large. I was itching to get inside, but I remembered what my buddy said. If we go inside, we must be careful. There's lots of things that you can get snagged on, and this could be disastrous. I let my buddy go first. She's a seasoned expert when it comes to the Zenobia. As I swam inside, I started to look around, and it was at this point I thought, hey up, the roof's not where it's meant to be. But I realised, obviously, with the vessel lying on her side, that actually the roof is now become one of the sides. The floor has become one of the sides, and the new roof is actually what would have been the side, the windows. And this, what you're looking at here, is the mess deck. It would have been full of sailors during the time in the 1980s, eating their breakfast, lunch and dinner. My buddy's shining her light onto what would have been the floor. As I swim closer, I look, and it's a tartan carpet. The colour's bright and red still. The reason for this not fading is that the sun struggles to penetrate this deep into the wreck, and therefore the colours of the tartan carpet have withstood all these years. Over there where the light is shining is the old serving hatch where the food would have been served from. At this point I remember I checked my air, because it's important that you get back to the shot line with enough air, because on the way up you had to do what you call a safety stop, and you had to come up slowly in increments, otherwise you can get what's called the bends. So it's a final shot before we swim out the side of her. At this point I start to come up through the side and out of the porthole. I remember thinking, what a crazy experience. I wish I could be down here all day long. As we started to swim out of the side, I look up. The sun's penetrating down, the waters are warm, there's fish around, and it was just a surreal experience. We look over into the distance and we see divers dangling mid-flow. They're doing what we call off-gassing, getting rid of as much of the dangerous gas as possible so it doesn't get stuck inside of them, causing what we call the bends. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and look out for my following videos. Thank you. Bye bye.